Most people, when they think about fixing economic development problems, they think about today, last 10 years. At best, they think about the last 20 years. But they never really realize how much history and the evolution of political institutions make a difference. 100 years ago, something would have happened in a given country, and it's still the institutional legacy would linger on until today, and it would be determining who is ruling, what resources are being utilized, who is getting the benefits from development. History matters, political institutions are important, and that is probably the most important thing that one has learned in the context of that project.
Yes, I mean, is there a gap? I think what came out really from our region is that no development model is good enough for every country. Even within one country, the reasons why one part of the region is underdeveloped was completely different from the reasons why other part of the region was not developed. Oil may have explained part of the story in one part, but it was also in the fact that oil reinforced weak institutions that were already there before oil was discovered. Another part of the country, a sort of model was there that bargained with the citizens that they were given some economic rights or economic security for limited political representation. I think, I mean, what was said before, I mean, about the role of institutions, I think it has been underestimated for so long. I had the chance to speak to some people, Chinese people, and they said in terms of democratization, this is the MENA time, but he said that the next decade is the Asia time for democratization. So I think the issue of institutions is important. And then something else, maybe it's about the importance of social stability. I mean, that unless reform is felt across all different social classes, I mean, it can bring about also some political and social unrest. I mean, this just comes from the region.
Well, if I may add to what Hoda said, I think one can think about two things. One can think about what the development practitioners and economists and political scientists and so on are likely to focus on as by way of outcomes. What is development supposed to achieve in the first place? And second, they are likely also to focus more on how they achieve that in a different way from what they have done in the past. On the outcomes, no longer the word, from the discussion we have had, not just from our paper, from the discussion we have had, no longer would anyone be able to convince us that economic growth is good for you and it's the only thing you should worry about. I think you will have to worry about economic growth, poverty and distribution simultaneously. In fact, I was suggesting yesterday in a small meeting that we should be focusing on growth, distribution and poverty, and somebody said, that is GDP. I said, but this is the new GDP. So that is where I think development is going to focus on going forward. In terms of how people think about political, all the scientists, if you like, as well as practitioners, policymakers and the like, they no longer are going to accept economics solving the development problem only by the economic advice. They will have to rely on the economist's advice, they have to change the institutions, as Hoda said, and they have to worry about the role natural resources can play both for good or bad. So in a way, at the end of the day, everybody is going to be busy going forward. One, changing their focus, and two, changing the way they think about it.